What part are you playing in somebody else's mental illness?
In my head.
It's a rainy day, and this is going to be challenging because the next few days there's supposed to be rain. So let's see if I can handle being out in the rain, because that's pretty much what I have to do. Otherwise, you're just going to see video of me in my room, in that background that you always see me in the videos that I do, which is not the way I want to do my vlogs, because I want you to be interested. And I know it's probably interesting to hear me just talk, but there's something extra about seeing different scenery and seeing the movement, and that's important to me, and that's why I keep bringing it up. So I was talking with some of you, and I was asking about the length of these videos, these vlogs that I'm doing, and I haven't decided yet, but I'm like in this weird position where YouTube wants you to do long videos because it keeps people on their site longer, and then the advertisers can get to those people. So if you want to make it on YouTube right now anyway, long videos is kind of a requirement. They prefer it. They will boost your rankings if you do longer videos and your videos get watched for a longer period of time. So it's kind of a requirement for me to do that. However, some of you have mentioned that it's a little bit too long, or you put it off because it's so long, and I get that, because I have channels that I watch where I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to watch this right now because I don't have time. So I was thinking maybe a compromise would be to do like some short videos and then some longer videos and a little back and forth. I mean, it's not like you have to watch everything that I do, so if you don't, that's totally okay, but I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Now, as far as mental health, I was thinking about, I don't know, I've been thinking about a lot of things as always, and I wanted to talk about co-regulation a little bit and how it relates to mental health and mental illness, and just maybe get you thinking. So co-regulation starts when we are children and when we're toddlers, and we rely on our parents, and we rely on their attunement to us, and that kind of sets us up for being social creatures. Now, we're naturally social creatures. We have to be, because we cannot survive as babies without somebody taking care of us. However, the way that our parents interact with us set up a lot of different things for us going forward in life. If they set up our attachment style, which can change throughout life, so it's not permanent. However, it gets kind of stuck depending on how we interacted with our parents in childhood. And the way that we interact with our parents becomes a model for the way that we interact with a lot of people in our lives. I apologize for all the noise, it's distracting me how noisy it is. Hopefully you can hear me okay. But that sets us up for the way we interact with a lot of people in life, the way that we interact with our parents. And so we start the process of co-regulation with them, and what that means is that we get our emotional needs met through our parents. We use them, in effect, to regulate our emotions. So when we get upset and cry, we know that they will come around and soothe us if they are healthy and they have healthy ways of relating to babies and children. We know that they will come around and soothe us, and then we know that we can get over whatever is upsetting us, and we know we can get through it. We know we can rely on them as a source of happiness. So it's this thing where, you know, we cry out for help and then they soothe us, or we smile and they smile. It's this back and forth exchange of emotional information that goes on when we're children. And it helps us to start to get a sense of safety, to feel like when we're out in the world, it's okay. We don't have to feel like we're under attack all the time, because we know there's a parent around who will take care of us. And as we grow older, we don't need that parent anymore. We just have the sense of safety left behind. However, people who have grown up in abusive households, they never get that sense of safety, so they continue to go on in life without that sense of safety. And I know I'm speaking very generally here, I know some people become traumatized by things and some people do not, but I just want to make it clear that people who've been in abusive situations who do get traumatized, they do not keep that sense of safety with them very often, and it feels like the world is a threat. So that's where the process of co-regulation begins. I'm going to continue this discussion a little bit later because I'm probably going to go for a walk later if it's not raining too hard, and I am interested in continuing this conversation with you because it's something I've thought about a lot, and it's a way that I look at the world that I wish more people would look into the world. Okay, so it's later, I'm out in the rain, and this bush that I'm near smells really nice. Okay, so I was talking about how we co-regulate with people, and we do this based on the way that we learn to co-regulate with our parents. Now, in childhood, when we co-regulate with our parents, it's a very one-way thing. It's basically they are regulating our emotions. It's still co-regulation because it's two people involved, us and one of our parents. However, it's a one-way type of thing. As we grow older and we start to feel more secure within ourselves, which is what the original process of co-regulating is supposed to do. We're supposed to attach to our parents in a secure way, and that establishes, through attunement, a secure base in ourselves. These are all psychological words that I'm using that have real meaning. So if you're curious about them, look up attachment theory, look up attunement, look up co-regulation. It's all interesting stuff. But when we get to an older point in our lives, when we're older, we've gone through some teenage years and we start to become more independent, we have that secure base already within us, and then we start to co-regulate with people in a more harmonious way where, you know, if we see that somebody is feeling down, they're feeling sad, we try to cheer them up, but then we also get in return from them when we're feeling down, they cheer us up, and back and forth. And it's like a dance between people where nobody's like getting more from somebody than somebody else. It's a exchange of emotional information, and through this exchange, through this social exchange of our emotions, we feel more secure and we feel better about ourselves in those times when we do feel more vulnerable and we don't feel like we're able to handle that vulnerability. So we get older and we learn to co-regulate in a more healthy manner, but for some of us, we don't learn that. You know, we learned in childhood not the correct way to co-regulate with people, and we carry that over into adulthood. And so what winds up happening, unfortunately, is if you follow imago theory from the relationship side of psychology, we seek out people who model our caregivers, and we wind up finding them. So we find other people who don't know how to properly co-regulate. So not that this is always going to be the case, but it could be that we have a mental illness and then we find other people who have mental illnesses. And so we have, what I'm really trying to get at here is, unfortunately, we wind up with pockets of people in society who don't know how to properly co-regulate with other people. Sometimes they're people who have mental illnesses congregating together, forming bad social habits, bad relationships with each other, and that is very unfortunate because what happens is the people who do know how to co-regulate in a healthy way, they don't want to get involved with this group of people who don't know how to co-regulate properly. Very often they get labeled toxic people or something of that nature, sometimes by the same people who have the same bad skills. So sometimes you've got the the pot calling the kettle black. You've got people who don't know how to regulate themselves properly, also telling other people that they are toxic people when it could be the same is true for them, which is why I don't like using the word toxic to describe anybody. It's not descriptive, it's not good. Anyway, my point being is you wind up with pockets of people who don't really know how to relate to other people. However, they think this is the way that you relate to other people because this is the way they've always related to people, and they don't know any differently. And that they're not getting the help that they need because they're insulated in this little bubble of dysfunction where everybody thinks that's the normal way that things should go. Now, I wanted to point out that when it comes to mental illness, very often a solution is to go see a therapist, right? I mean, we all kind of intuitively know that you know, you go for talk therapy, group therapy, whatever the therapy is, part of it is talking to a therapist, and part of the process of getting to know a therapist is getting to attune to them as if they were a parent to you, as if they were your parent as a child. And so we can see that part of healing from mental illness can be learning to properly co-regulate with somebody. However, for some reason, when we discuss mental illness, we discuss mental illness as if it happens to one person alone, and it's only that one person's problem to deal with. And we don't think of it as a problem that we have to think about as a society, because you can have that one person that has problems, but if you get them around enough people who know how to co-regulate properly, they may start to pick up on that, and they may start to realize, wait a minute, something's wrong with the way I'm doing things. This is not the way that other people do things. So again, it's hard when they isolate themselves into a pocket of people who have mental illness or who have dysfunctional behaviors, but I think it's important to recognize that sometimes mental illness is not most of the time actually, I would say mental illness is not an isolated thing. Yes, sometimes there are temperamental factors and there are genetic factors that contribute, but very often there are psychosocial factors that contribute. So what part are you playing in somebody else's mental illness? Uh-oh, I forgot about the thumbnail again. I'm surprised how many people are out here at 10:30 at night, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This is just what it always is every time I'm out here. So I want to cap off what I was discussing and say, you know, I have been in a lot of these dysfunctional groups of people before. You know, I had a dysfunctional family. I have gotten involved in intimate relationships with dysfunctional people who had dysfunctional families themselves or dysfunctional friends. And I know I've personally gotten involved with a lot of dysfunctional friends that I've gotten away from. So I don't want it to sound like I'm pointing the finger at anybody or acting like I've avoided all of these situations in my life. I'm just describing phenomenon that happen, and you know, I've been there, I get it. So my question to you is, have you ever been involved in a dysfunctional group of people? And could you see how that group as a whole made you act dysfunctionally? Does that make sense? I'm trying to ask, like, can you see how group behavior influenced you to behave in a way that was not healthy, and then how you, when you left that group, you started to act a little bit more in healthy ways? That's what I'm interested in. If you have had that experience, please comment below and share it with us so our whole community can discuss this. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe and hit the little bell notification icon thing if you want to get notifications every time I release a video. But thank you for joining me once again tonight in my little walks out here. I do appreciate that you joined me, and I will be around tomorrow for another vlog.